Ruth chapter 1. Ruth's husband died. And get down into verse 4. Let's go back. Let's go down to verse 5. We're looking at the mother-in-law and her two daughter-in-law. So the mother had the sons passed. She was left with her two daughter-in-laws, okay? And her name was Naomi. But Naomi, verse 6, it says, then she rose up with her two daughters-in-law and went, or to return to the country of Moab. For she had heard in the country of Moab how the Lord had visited his people, giving them bread. Wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was. Her and her two daughter-in-laws were with her. And they went on their way to return to the land of Judah. Judah is we should know, the land of Judah, okay? It's the promised land, so to speak, okay? Naomi said unto her two daughter-in-laws, go and return each of you to her mother's house. And the Lord will deal with you kindly as you have dealt with the dead with me. The Lord grant you that ye may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Then she kissed him and lifted up her voice and wept. So this is a departing. Okay, the former is passed away. Your husband's is gone. But let's move on to, well, let's continue to see how the daughters act, the daughter-in-laws act. Because this is the way we act today. And they said unto her, surely we will return with you unto your people. And Naomi said, no, turn again, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb that may be your husbands? Which we know naturally this is impossible. So what she's saying is, I'm at an age right now, I can't give you no more husbands. And you grown right now. There's no way I could have another one. And I can give you another husband. Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say I have hope, if I should have a husband also tonight, and should bear sons, ain't no way. I'm gonna go get me a husband, get busy, and have some kids, and then them kids gonna grow up, and all of a sudden you gonna have a new husband? No. It says, would you tarry for them till they're grown? She's talking to them. So if I had them, are you gonna hang around until they're grown? Would you stay for them from having? Would you stay for them for having husbands? No, my daughters, for it grieved me much for your sake, that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. And they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave to her. So one sister left, but Ruth, she stuck and she hung around. Because, you know, in this life, you have connections with folks you grow to love and hang around them. When the door closes, death can cause that door to close. God is trying to do a new thing. What did people say when God closed the door on this lifetime, when he allowed this pandemic to happen? What people say, I want to go back to normal. This world turned into Ruth. That life was dead. What's normal anyway? Well, what was normal? You know, you still had a life of crime. You still had taxes. You still had things that we had to go through. We wasn't in paradise. We still ain't. But people wanted to go back to normal. Ruth wanted to go back to normal because her husband was gone. So she thought, I'm going to hang around my mother-in-law. Maybe she can give me another husband. But the mother-in-law, she said, no, that's impossible. God is trying to do a new thing. Are you ready to accept a new thing? Okay, Ruth said, entreat me not to leave you or to return from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go. And where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. She willing to change her gods for this woman because of being familiar. A lot of times, again, when God shut that door, a lot of us are not willing to accept that it's over with because you've been so used to it. the whole point of this is that eventually she did go her way. And she met Boaz. Okay? And her meeting Boaz, let's go to Ruth chapter 2. She finally went on out to the Moabites. Ruth and the Moabites said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn. See, if you don't move on, the whole importance about her and Boaz is because that's where David came from, that bloodline, okay? And then from David's bloodline, we know Christ came from the seat of the throne of David. So Boaz came and met her and gave her favor. She would have never have known that. She would have never have met Boaz if she hadn't finally said, accepted that this season was over. Now I need to move forward to a new season, a new thing. God doesn't take the old and redo it. He does away with the old and brings you something totally new. He's always trying to do something new. If we are not careful, we will turn ourselves into Ruth, and you won't let go of old concepts. God is steadily trying to tell you, no, I'm always doing things new in your life. But if you won't let go of the old, you will be stuck in the old. And you will miss so many blessings that God has. Because we are not willing to let go of the old. That's the concept again. People still commenting. Well, Christ went up in his body, but you need to understand Romans 8. Okay? The old, which is this body we're in now, God is not pleased with. It is impossible to please God in the flesh. Yes, Christ went up in a body, but Christ was well pleasing. We're not pleasing. Okay? Christ also went up in a heavenly body. No flesh and blood has ever been in the kingdom. That's the spiritual realm. Okay? We live in a natural realm. So when we get past this old concept, thinking that, and most of you guys argue the point that I'm making. Okay? The body that you receive is a new garment. It is a spiritual garment. It is not a fleshly garment. That's the reason why in Revelation that the remnant of Judah, Jacob, will have earthly bodies, and they will be the ones repopulating the earth, because they will still be of flesh. They will be protected in the wilderness of Judea, the latter half of the 7 years of the tribulation. They will be the ones to repopulate the earth, because their bodies will be of flesh. Ours will not be of flesh. It will have the ability to ascend and descend, but we will not be of flesh and blood, because it's never been in the kingdom. It can't go into the kingdom. That pure holiness of God, flesh and blood can't contain that. We must be transformed. So this old raggedy body full of diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, inflammation, you think that's going? Oh, it's going to be instantly transformed. He doesn't need to transform that. That's the old. Okay? Ruth, stuck on the old. Her mindset still stuck on the old concept. Okay? If you had not have moved forward in your thinking, you would have never met Boaz. You'd have still stayed stuck in the mud, waiting for us to go back to normal, when normal is over with. So if Ruth had never moved forward, ladies and gentlemen, she would have never met Boaz. They would have never had their son. Their son then, from his lineage, brought David. Then from David's throne, the bloodline came Christ. There's so many things by you not accepting a newness and the will of God in your life, he'll use somebody else. You could have been the patriarch of that lineage, but somebody else will be, because we stayed stuck at the red light. When it was really green, we thought it was still red and didn't want to move forward. Got to be able to move forward. Got to come out of this old mindset. That's why Jesus constantly kept trying to teach people. Yeah, this is earthly. But if you don't understand this, you won't understand heavenly. Let's go to Revelation 21 and 5. And what did he say? Verse 5. He that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write these words, faithful and true. Go back up to 4. He says, I shall wipe away the tears from all their eyes. And there shall be no more death, no more sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away. Ruth, the former things, your husband has passed away. There is a new husband. There is a new bridegroom. This former life is going to pass away. And if we don't come out of this Ruth mentality, trying to understand things, you won't get the full concept. Like I said before, people don't understand rapture because the word ain't in the book. And then when you look in Revelation 4 and Revelation 5, there's no description of human beings standing there. That's why people don't believe it. Because the mindset, the way you comprehend things are earthly. Everything in the spirit realm is first. The natural is second. Okay? Everything we see, trees don't grow, grass don't grow, we don't live unless it's a spiritual government behind it. So if everything is spiritual, which we can't see, we don't have that realm to see yet. We only know the natural. So the mind is only going to say, I can only comprehend based on my experience, what I've seen in the past, and from what I've heard from other folks. But if you cannot tap into the spirit realm and get some understanding, you won't understand a lot of these Bible concepts. It's just that plain and simple. It's hard for people to believe that, you know, God wouldn't need this. It's going to take our spirit out and put it in. I looked up the word translated. Let me do this before I get off. Because again, I know that time is like, oh, people, I'm out of here. Okay. Translated definition. Let's go to the Merriam's dictionary real quick. Okay. Translated. One of the definitions I found was striking. 2a, when you look up translated, to bear, to remove or change from one's place, comma, state, comma, form or appearance to another. Change it. But the theory behind a lot of folks will say, well, that means that this flesh is going to change. It's not going to change. What he's saying is you're going to change. You're going to be removed, as this definition say, removed out of this flesh and then translated into a body of incorruption. I know the thought is, well, because of the resurrection, they say, well, what's going to be resurrected? And I said before, if you just use common sense, okay? If you've been in the ground for hundreds of years and died in Christ, what body are you being resurrected into? That body is disintegrated. It's gone. It's gone back to the earth. It's an easy concept. He's going to take you from that and then put you in from the old state that you were in into a new state. Let go of the old concept. God is trying to do a new thing. He's not trying to make old new again. He said the former things are passed away. Romans 8. It's impossible to please him in the flesh. He's not considered. He's not worried about this flesh. He said it's enmity. Okay? That's what he said in Romans 8. It's enmity. All right? Let's look up that word. It's an enemy. Okay? If it's enmity against God, then what does that mean? It's hostile. It cannot obey the law. So I need to take you out of that and put you in a new. Okay? Because what you're in now is hostile. It can't obey the law. It cannot be saved. Okay? So there's nothing that he needs with this body. It's old. There's a new thing coming. Just remember that. There's a new thing coming. Why do people want to hold on to the old? It blows my mind. Well, Christ went up in his body. Well, he was well pleasing. Remember he said that? Nicodemus then went out and tried to kill all the firstborn because it was told to him that this Son of God would bruise the head of Satan. So Satan whispered into his ear and said, hey, go kill all the firstborn, just to make sure we get rid of them. But they unsuccessful. He was able to walk through walls. The Bible said he reappeared and disappeared. He didn't have a body of flesh, folks. God done away with that old body and rose him up in all power. Okay, we're not raised up in all power, folks. He is. A lot of people want to continue to compare us to him, our being called up to his called up. That's two different call ups, folks. That's the Lamb that had been slain. That's Almighty. Who are we? We're sinners. We're not going to, our gift is not coming the same way his came. Said it repented him that even made mankind. And it's because of him he had to come back. He was well pleased. A lot of people, we talked about Enoch and Elijah. Well pleased. Obviously, they were righteous. We're not. That's why they were taken. This was before the manifestation of the Lamb. So God found them so righteous and so clean that he said, okay, y'all come on up here with me. If that was the case, some of us would have gone missing throughout the decades, but ain't none of us right. That's why it's boot camp. And when you get through a boot camp, and when that trial is over with, then you will be granted a brand new body. Same way you get a brand new car, okay? You don't take a garbage bag that's been in the garbage can for 2-3 days, it's full of stinky trash and garbage. You don't take it outside to the black dumpster and dump it and put the raggedy, nasty bag back in there. Unless it's tight for you. You ain't been to Family Dollar or Dollar Tree lately to get you some new bags. You don't take off your drawers, socks, and bras and wash your tail and then put them same dirty bras, socks, and drawers back on. God is doing a new thing. You always go with the new. You don't put clean back in dirty. There ain't no way you've been working all week and you're going to put them same nasty work clothes in your drawer full of clean clothes. The concept comes from heaven. He doesn't put clean back in the old. I can't pour new wine into new wine bottles because they'll burst. So when we give in these new wine bottles, that's because we will have heavenly bodies and spirits and authority. This thing is going to change. This thing's going to be left. Okay? Your name is going to change. You had a heavenly name versus an earthly name. Everything's going to change into the new. So to be concerned about whether or not your body still hangs around or not, when the Bible is clear, flesh and blood won't enter into the kingdom. That's the reason why I said again, that pandemic too, they're going to use that situation to their advantage, okay? Because they know what's getting ready to happen. Unfortunately, human beings are brick-headed and can't get past the concept. But we'll find out soon and very soon, won't we? But God is doing a new thing. Are you willing to accept the new thing? Are you willing to let the old go and move forward in the new path that he's trying to tell you to go to? That door is closed and locked. I got another door over here open. But Ruth was so stuck on the old, she almost missed out on the blessing. And thank God she woke up, because David came from that blessing. Christ came from that blessing. So it's just a matter of 1 or 2 decisions can affect everything that we do. And you may not know that right now, but these are the lessons that God is trying to show us. Peace.